Howdy folks, here's a quick video recapping what we did with the button in case you want to go back and review it. So we had a couple of parts to the button. So we had the object part, which is really the idea that we're going to make a button object that has some settings we can set right off the bat. And then all these things that have this attached to them mean these are going to be specific variables that are associated with whatever variable we end up making the button. So you can see down here, I have a few different things surrounding, like, hey, here's the X, here's the Y. This is we're going to use to tell if it's like clicked, like sort of like maybe I can put a little comment here. This is sort of like it's on-off position if we're thinking about it like a light switch. Here's colors it can switch to. And I want to do oops, I need to put this in the comment, so I'll put it right there. So the one that I really want to draw some particular attention to is the shape one. So the reason we're adding a shape to the button is so that later on there's something that we can click on, so we can check to see if we bump into it. Otherwise the button doesn't like have, without it, the button doesn't have like a quote physical presence that we can interact with. So attaching a shape to it is something we can do. And when you go on to modify your own button, you could change this into a image or something else, but it's important to have something like this in your concept of a button, because that's the thing we're gonna be testing against. So you can see here then we go down into our button and we make a brand new button using the parameters up here. So what this means is I'm going to have a variable called my button. It's going to be placed at 100, 100, and it's going to have an on color of green and an off color of red. And here we go. Now we're going to then make this new variable called click check, which we'll talk in a second. So if I just run this, I can see here that I can draw the shape inside the button, and then that will give it our little square here. And it's red because we set it up to be the starting color is based off of the off color. So we'll assume our button is off until we turn it on. So let's talk about this other one, which is click check. It's basically really what this is doing is it's answering the question, is the mouse button down? But not exactly that. So it's checking to see if the mouse button down, but it's basically because we have the mouse down command, which can act if it's pressed. But what we really want to do is the mouse button down, and then we want to basically, it's kind of like the first time the mouse button is down. So we want to basically have this click check to basically say, hey, I just pressed the mouse button. Because otherwise what happens with mouse down is mouse down, like when I do this just to like click and drag, that's kind of the mouse down. The mouse down's paying attention to the mouse is down, the mouse is down. As soon as the button goes down, it sends a lot of signals out. That would cause us to kind of spam click our button. So we want to basically have a little signal to say, hey, the mouse button just went down, and if I happen to be on top of the button, then stop sort of asking the mouse button if it's down and wait until I let go of the mouse button. So that's kind of our goal there with that. So this is just a little thing where we can have a single click, and we don't have to worry about the mouse button spamming a lot. So this is kind of, this little code here on line 33 and 34 is a big element of what's important about actually like clicking on the button. So we're going to make a variable that we're going to call mouse position, and it's a new point based off of the mouse X and the mouse Y. So the mouse X and the mouse Y are the current positions of the mouse's X and Y coordinates things, and then we're just turning it into an object because we want to use it with this this great command called collide, which will ask, hey, did object 1 touch object 2? and give us a yes or no answer, which it'll save as a true false. So basically, we turn it into an object so we can use it with this function, and then we can ask our big question, which is, hey, did we hit the thing? Is the mouse down? And is the click check there? So once we have all that, like we've asked the question and we've kind of seen if we've hit the thing. And if we click on run, you'll see I can click on this, but nothing happens. So that's because we have to actually put some code in to get our button to actually do something. So a great way to just make that happen is that we just want to toggle it. We're going to sort of, right now we're going to just say like, hey, if we hit the button, we want something to happen. So let's put something on the screen that we can sort of like control. So I'm going to make a new circle. Let's spell circle. And I'm going to put it, a little off to the side of the screen. We'll start it at size 50. And then it'll be something that we always draw in our animate function. So we'll just do c.draw. So if I just run this real quick, you can see I just got a plain circle there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, if I successfully click on the button, then let's do c.radius plus plus. And what this is going to do real quick is if I click on this button, it's not changing color or anything, but I'm clearly registering the click because I'm getting the circle a little bit bigger. I could do something kind of fun, like I could then do like c.x equals, a random position between 0 and the canvas.width. And so now when I click on it, it gets a little bigger and it jumps around horizontally on the screen. Okay, so this is kind of like clicks, like, if you sort of think about like a cookie clicker sort of thing, this gives us the ability to, like, every time I click, I can't hold it down. See here, like I'm not holding it down, but I'm clicking, and every time it goes down and up, the next time I click down, then it triggers that. So that's kind of like a, the action of clicking causes something to happen. So we can put it there. So one of the things that I might want to do is if I want to switch it to be sort of like that on-off switch sort of thing, this is where we're going to change the setting for whether the button's clicked or not. So my button.clicked, I could set it up as a bunch of like if statements, like if the button clicked is equal to true, set it to false. And if it's false, set it to true. But ultimately what I'm doing is I'm doing my button.clicked is equal to, well, the opposite of whatever it is. And this little not operator, this little exclamation point, works on true false Boolean variables like clicked is to do the opposite of it. So now I have this really nice thing, and I could ask a question like thing where I could say, well, if my button.clicked, remember that's a true or false variable, so I don't need to set equal anything. Well, if that happens to be true, then what could I do? Well, then I could set my button.shape.fill. Hey, that equals to my button dot, what? If it is currently clicked, it should be the on color, right? Awesome. And then I got an else here, which is, hey, if that's false, then I can drop this and it should be the off color. So now if I run this, notice that I have my toggling colors going between the two, kind of representing on off. And so then I could do, a variety of things. Oh, hey, maybe if my button is clicked, it's the on color and c.x is in plus plus. So maybe what this does is now I click and notice that it's slowly going across the screen. It's not based on me clicking at all, but if I turn it off, it stops moving. I click and it goes, I click and it stops. Now you can see that I have a button that really feels like it turns something on and off. So this is the setup for the button clicking thing. So really what I want you to do is start off by getting something like this working. It's changing the color. Something's happen. That you can really see this difference between toggling these things. So once you kind of get to this point, your next step is to trick it out, do something fun, and really make it your own. Add an image. You could even tie it into your screensaver one so it turns on and off your screensaver. Whatever you want. So have fun. Enjoy.